Hello again, my name is Alex Vargas. I'm a recovered alcoholic. And I want to thank Chris for asking me to lead today. And I think it's quite an honor to speak in any AA meeting or be asked to speak anywhere. I want to really congratulate the birthday people. 6 and 8 years, it's a long, long time without a drink or a drug. And I especially want to welcome you guys that are new, first 30 days. I have a lot of respect for you guys because I was shivering and shaking in Salvation Army my first 30 days, and all I wanted to do was drink. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to get the hell out of that place. I didn't belong there. Circumstances brought me there. People that were mean and cruel and didn't put up with my shit didn't want. That was the reason why I was there. Again, my sobriety day is June 19, 2010. And that's not because I chose it and because I wanted it. It's just the way it happened. The big book talks about power of choice. I didn't know what that meant. All I knew is that when I woke up, I'm going to get drunk. That's it. The morning shakes were on me. I remember calling my ex-girlfriend's brother, who was a doctor, because I told him I'm kicking a kickball in my dreams and I'm waking up with a violent kick, and he says, you might have some kind of neurological problem with you. You should go get that checked out. I didn't know I was suffering from delirium trends. I just thought, well, I'll just go see a doctor, even though I'm drinking 211 at 4 in the morning when I wake up, which I despise people drinking that because I thought they were bums. I couldn't not drink without going to sleep. But I didn't think I had a problem. The book talks about incomprehensible demoralization. I didn't know what that meant either. All I know is I kind of made up and asked myself sometimes, but I wasn't demoralized and sure wasn't incomprehensible. I'll share you a quick story to qualify. I one time got really drunk in an Oktoberfest, fell over my ass. My mom locked me in her office that day, or that night, and I came to. And I, like any good alcoholic wakes up and, man, that was a great night last night. Don't really know what happened, but I walk into the kitchen and my mom's cooking breakfast and I can tell she's been crying, And I say, Mom, how's it going? It's a hell of a night last night, huh? And she's like, yeah, it was, but she's different. My mom is like super codependent. If there was a comic book about super codependent people, she'd probably be a superhero in one of those comic books. My father was an alcoholic. He died of this disease. She still would stay with him. And she picked up a rosary and she said, you got really drunk last night. And it was disgusting. She said, sin vergüenza, which basically means in Spanish, without shame. And she said, I know your dad wasn't much of a dad to you, and I know he didn't tell you he loved you and all that stuff, but your dad never drank like you did last night. And I'm giving you this rosary because I think you're going to die like he did. I didn't get sober for another 3 years. You can't scare an alcoholic into sobriety. Trust me. People were telling me, you got a problem. Oh, you got a problem. Get off my case, man. I know what I'm doing. But little did I know that I was suffering from a disease that was beyond my mental control. How many times did I wake up and say, I'm not going to drink today? And I drank anyway. I drink because I like the effects produced by alcohol, even though I know it's injurious. I cannot differentiate the true from the false. That's alcoholism, period. I don't have to go any deeper. I don't have to be like, well, my dad was like this, or maybe I was raised in the Catholic Church. No, I drink because I like the effects produced by alcohol, and I know it's going to burn me. I know what's going to happen when I open that bottle, and I still do it. That is the definition of insanity. Pure and simple. I didn't realize that until by some kind of act of God or providence. It talks about in the first step in the 12 and 12. There's an act of providence for someone who wants to get sober. The man who took 8 years, I cried too at the waiting room in Salvation Army. My friend Kendall took me there, and he asked them, how long is Alex going to stay here? And they said, I think 6 months will do him some good. I heard, you're never fucking leaving here. And I cried my eyes out. I'm like, I'm never leaving. Don't take my stuff. I had a laundry basket of clothes, a phone that barely worked, and a car that barely ran. And I still thought I had a better idea. Okay, so 2 months in, there's panels coming. They're talking about alcohols, and they're talking about, you should identify as an alcoholic. Like, you don't got to make me identify as anything. I'm here because people brought me here. I'm here because my twin brother didn't want to take me in. I just need my job back. I need my girlfriend back. Life will be better. And one time I devised a great plan. Talked to an old friend of mine that was in he became an old friend. And it dawned on me, just like, I remember John once told me, what the scariest book yet to be written is Ideas of a Newcomer. Because I had a great idea. I said, today's my last day, and I'm going to go back to Carrie, and she's going to take me back because she misses me. And I'm going to get my unemployment back, and I'm going to get sober. I'll get the sponsor and all the step work and all the other bullshit you guys talk about. And he said, Alex, that's the stupidest fucking thing I ever heard in my life. You should just stay here and give this place a shot. What else do you got to lose? What he was asking me to do was take a leap of faith. So 2 months, stark raving sober, not worked a step, just did a bunch of meetings, and all I wanted to do was drink. And someone finally took mercy upon me in my home group, the Sunrise group, and I was sharing vitriol, just grievances and lava coming out of my mouth. And people were like, oh my God, I really relate to your share, you keep coming back. Everyone says that. I'm tired of you guys saying keep coming back. Finally, someone says, it sounds like you're begging for a sponsor and want to work the steps. And I said, I didn't ask you for your opinion. Thank you very much. I needed to hear that, though. I needed this process to be brought to me like a 4-year-old kid. I needed it to be told the blunt truth without any dilution. My first sponsor, Justin, was really tough on me. He told me stuff like, when I was doing my second step, I told him I didn't believe in God. He said, that's wonderful. Why don't you give me your ideas of why you don't believe? And I told him, why? And he says, well, good. Find your findings, put them in a book, and write it, and make $1 billion so you can save us all from this finding God stuff. And I looked at him and he's like, the truth is that you actually have no idea what God is or a higher power. All you know how to do is get drunk. And I wanted to jump across that table and strangle him. He had 10 years sober. He was the same age as me. What did he know about drinking, right? Don't ever ask that by a sponsor who's armed with facts of himself. It's not a pretty sight. Anyway, what jumped out at me when he had me reread this paragraph over and over, he says, the fact that most alcoholics for reasons yet obscure have lost the power of choice in drink. He asked me again, do you have a choice when you drink? I said, yes. He's like, read that again. And I read it again. Our so-called willpower becomes practically non-existent. We are unable at certain times to bring into the consciousness with sufficient force in the memory of the suffering, of humiliation, of being of a week ago or a month ago. We are without defense of the first drink. He says, if you can answer that honestly, you're on your way. And again, I didn't really know what he meant. Power of choice. See, the thing is that when I finally came to the realization that I'm a real alcoholic, like it says in the big book, I never had a choice. I was going to drink no matter what. And I was taught in this cycle of waking up, promising myself that I'm not going to drink, and getting drunk again. And it just wasn't stopping. So, I finally get out, I work the steps. Things start manifesting themselves. I get a job. I move out. I live in Pasadena for 3 years, and just these wonderful things. And John always told me, you're going to want, the promise he had me give him is that you're going to want to grow spiritually every day if you're going to work with me. I worked with him for 8.5 years. I said, what does that mean? It talks about it right before the ABCs. Our goal is to grow along spiritual lines. They were read today. Honesty, humility, faith, courage, all that other stuff. Those are spiritual principles that are outlined in the 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Thank God they wrote this book, because I had no idea how to do any of that. Self-sacrifice, working with others, not wanting to, working with guys that I know are numbskulls and they're probably going to get loaded anyway, but I show up anyway. And I'm not God. you know. But there are times I'm selfish and self-centered. I don't want to go. It's 6 o'clock in the evening. Like, it's Friday. I got things to do, man. I got places to be. I really don't. I like to play video games and stay home a lot. But I show up anyway. And I meet friends like Anthony through the process. I meet friends like Josh, and my friend George, my friend James. They're all family to me. We're not tied by blood. And why is that? And talks about Bill's story. Belief in the power of God plus enough willingness, honesty, and humility to establish and maintain the new order of things were essential requirements. And I want to bake bread. I don't have yeast. I don't have the essential requirements. I need those 3 ingredients for this process to work. I need to have faith in the process. Even today, with years of recovery, you know, I identify as a recovered alcoholic because that's the first promise that's given to us in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It tells us a story about how 100 men and women have recovered from alcoholism. I am not cured of this disease, but I have recovered from a hopeless state of mind and body. I don't wake up wanting to die every day. I have a wonderful life today through the process. God keeps showing up, and my selfishness still tries to prove that He doesn't exist, or, you know, it's because of what I did or whatever. One of the biggest questions I ever asked John was like, what's the difference between my will and God's will? Like, just tell me the answer. I don't know what that is. And he told me it's real easy. Self-will is when I force things to my will. God's will, it happens effortlessly. You just do the work, and God will manifest things in your life. Things you're not going to want to do, but when you do them, I have 3 more minutes. So my life today is completely changed from 11 and a half years ago. If you told me that I would work with guys that I met at my Sunrise meeting and work with them and see them go through the process and see their lives transform in 3 years, not because of something I did, but because he was enough willing humility and honesty to do the process and see his life transform. You know, I wish I can tell you what that's like. You won't know until you do it. You know, having a close relationship with Anthony, seeing him through what he went through, finding the girl of his dreams and getting married. I don't mean to talk about you, but I mean, the relationship I had with Anthony is one of the best things that's ever been given to me in this life, in the life of recovery. How does that happen? God makes that happen. You know, I like to be a cheerleader for Power Greater Than Ourselves because that's what this book is about. It talks about it. We're here to answer these questions specifically, not about just making it through today, man. Just not gonna drink today. It doesn't talk about that. It talks about being rocketed into the 4th dimension. I've been rocketed into the 4th dimension. I used to hear people up in meetings saying they have a life beyond their wildest dreams, and I sit there like, you're so full of shit. Like, you're in a meeting, you just told yourself an alcoholic. How could they be the best? You know, like, how is that even possible? And then I get to experience it. And the thing is that I've done the steps a couple times. I do annual house cleanings, but I still need to have a new experience with God. Step 11 cements that for me. You know, pray for His knowledge and His will to carry out. And ask the power to take away the fear. I mean, I'm not even talking about like fear of she's going to break up with me. I'm talking about fear of this guy at Starbucks is waiting too long to order. I'm ready to go off on this guy. Like, what's the deal? It's just coffee. Get creamer and get it the hell out of here. I asked God that moment to remove that fear, because anger is derived from fear. What am I afraid of? Where am I going? You know, and I could just pause and let life transform itself. And the last thing I want to leave with you guys, especially the newcomers, is that you know, this book is about finding a power greater than yourself and utilizing that power. It talks about finding Him within, right? The great reality. It talks about that. Don't let anyone ever tell you anything different. That's exactly what this book is about. And if you don't have a belief in the power within yourself, or want to shun off God, I'm right there with you. I was right there with you. But I'll leave you with the dear words of Father Terry, who was one of my favorite speakers. And he used to say, the guy's a retired Monsignor, just wonderful. He says, if you come in here and you don't believe in God, that's okay. The fact that you're here putting faith in something you have absolutely no idea what the outcome is proof that there is a power greater than yourself. And that's all I got. Thank you.